Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 825 Technologies podcast. I'm Andy, founder and CEO of 825 Technologies.
And I'm Tim, senior tech here at 825. This is episode 69. We got some fascinating topics lined up today.
That is right, Tim. So I think we're covering everything from tariffs, the old Trump tariffs, as they'll be known in history, probably, how they affect IT prices, all the way to quantum computing breakthroughs, and then some real interesting AI limitations. So let's dive right in.
Right?
So, have you been keeping up on the latest tariff stuff?
Unfortunately, yes. President Trump just implemented the 10% tariff increase on Chinese imports back in February, and it's already having a ripple effect across the tech industry.
Yeah, it's pretty significant. And like the impact on consumer electronics in particular is pretty major, which most of our listeners would be interested in. And I think what you're looking at right now on the financial radar is about $66.7 billion will be the impact
Mm-hmm.
on cell phones alone. Then you got another 37.5 billion on computers. Yeah.
Wow. The price increase are really what's going to hit the consumers. We're
Yeah.
expecting laptops and tablets to go up by 45%, smartphones by
Whoa.
nearly 26%, video game consoles 39%. Sheesh.
Whoa. That's substantial. And of course, there's TVs, monitors, right? They're expected to go up 9%. Any other, like, if we would have started with that, like 9%, we'd be like, well, that's pretty big. Yeah. I mean, but
20,
laptops going
30,
up
40.
40%. Yeah.
Right.
TVs. Yeah. So, yeah, you add it all up. Analysts are estimating that these tariffs could add to an average household about $2,700 a year in expenses.
Jeez.
So, I mean, you extrapolate that out to a small business. I mean, you're anywhere, depending on how many employees you have, you know.
Up, 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 up.
Yeah. I mean, you got 20 to 30 employees, you're probably looking an extra 30 grand. Yeah.
Uh,
That's a
uh,
budget buster.
right. Unlike previous trade conflicts, Apple products aren't exempt this time around. Woohoo.
Ooh, Apple. Yeah. So that's going to be really, the cost of all this is going to be a big change for our clients. So, um, on top of that, at this same time, we got all these tariffs, and then we also have this return to office mandates, or we have these return to office mandates that are coming out. That,
These.
yeah. So you know, you now all of a sudden too have extra spending and an extra uh, requirement for these offices to get new machines, right? Because they've kind of been pushing. We got you all new machines during COVID. These are fine. Let's carry it out. Well, now the rubber's hitting the road, and those machines, they're not really doing much. So, how does that affect IT spending?
Right. Yeah. More companies are requiring the employees back in office, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
We're seeing shifts in IT budgets, and now companies are having to reinvest in their office infrastructure while maintaining remote capabilities.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, you got the remote side too. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
hybrid more. So yeah, you've got an interesting dual investment situation right now between tariffs and return to office. And yeah, I mean, companies can't just abandon their remote setups, but they also need to refresh the in-office technology too.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly. And these tariffs on top of that, the IT departments are really feeling the squeeze. Here it comes.
Yep. So, and I do feel bad for our clients and for us. We're not exempt, and it's just the reality of doing business though, and it's hard sometimes to sit and watch prices go up and think, is it really worth this much money for this that was, you know, 40% less last year?
Mm,
So, if anything, it could be a really good opportunity to evaluate what's the end of 2025 going to look like? If we're thinking we got the cash now, do we go ahead and invest in that infrastructure because we know it's only going to go up probably? So, yeah.
better do it soon.
Yeah. Well, infrastructure's fun, so let's shift gears just a little bit. Still in the hardware realm, but more cutting edge. China has a new quantum computer, and this is pretty impressive stuff.
It really is. They unveiled oh geez, go with me on this. Diana 504 quantum computer with a 504 qubit chips. They are calling it Izionk, or something like that.
Yeah, it's a mouthful. And we need to brush up on our Chinese, right? No.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. So 500 cubic. That's a big threshold to cross. It's a pretty significant milestone and a new domestic record for China.
Wow, what a fine and interesting collaboration behind it, especially with China Telecom Quantum Group, the Chinese Academies of Science, the Quantum Sea Tech, all work together on this one.
It's cool to see that collaboration. And
I know.
I think the University of Science and Technology of China also announced another quantum processor recently.
Yes, the Zukunzi 3.
I think that's
They're
how you
claiming
say it. Yeah. Yeah.
they're claiming it a million times faster than Google's Sycamore processor, that which is bold claim.
Yeah. And then I think it's six-fold faster than the Willow. But so we're talking abstract. What does this mean for the average person? Like, are we going to see any, practical application soon, do you think?
Yeah, well, they're integrating the quantum computer into China's telecoms Tiana quantum cloud platform, which has already attracted over 12 million visits from users in more than 50 countries. So the technology is becoming more accessible.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's definitely a space to watch there. I was reading too that the Zuchon Z3 processor, that quantum processor was stable for 720 milliseconds, and during that time it produced like 100 million instructions.
Jeez.
And to put that, like, the instruction just isn't like something that's small. This is enormous. So right now there's a traditional kind of computer, supercomputer that we have called the Frontier, and it's the fastest. And what computer scientists have proven is what this thing did in basically 700 or 100 milliseconds would have taken the Frontier traditional computer, supercomputer right now, 6.4 billion with a B years to complete.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It's a huge
So that's going
difference.
to be, uh, it's going to be
Fast.
interesting to see this race of quantum computing heat up globally.
It's
Yeah.
a
Because,
race.
yeah, can you imagine that in the cloud?
Yeah.
That in 2 milliseconds, effectively, you've done hundreds, hundreds of millennia of
Right.
processes that a traditional computer would do.
Mm,
It's wild.
that is wild.
Yeah. So let's bring it back here. Maybe software, something a little more consumer facing. Samsung is releasing their new operating system, their Samsung One UI 7. Tim, you're an Android expert, right? You roll around with
I'm
Android.
an
No,
Android expert.
hardly. Now, what can you tell us from what you do know about this upcoming release?
Oh yeah, this is pretty excited. For this one, the especially rolling out the One UI 7 starting April 7th.
Ooh, pretty fun. Are there any devices that you know of that are going to go ahead and get this that are already out?
Initially, it'd be available for the Galaxy S24 series, Galaxy Z Fold 6, and the Z Flip 6, and it
Ooh,
should be starting around April 10th.
man, just in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Man, that is pretty fast. So, let's say you're on the fence and you're like, what am I really going to get out of this? What features do you think that are real standout features?
Yeah, they've gone with a bold new design with a simple home screen and redesigning widgets. They also have a new Now bar that provides real time updates on lock screens without having to unlock your phone.
Ooh, that's
Mm.
kind of convenient.
Hmm.
That's pretty cool.
It is. They also are learning heavily into AI driven interfaces. Ooh, for more natural devices interaction, and the whole experience is streamlined with the better personalization options. Ooh,
All right.
okay.
So I am not an iPhone user. You are, ironically,
Yes.
but uh, you know, I've sat on the Pixel platform for a while. But you know, gonna say those sound kind of cool. So do you maybe next phone look at a Samsung?
Oh, maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, I know we all been trying trying to convert you for years to switch over.
Yeah, yeah. Get off the Pixel, get onto something else. Who knows? Maybe even get really wild. Go iPhone.
Get
Um,
both.
get, just
Just get
oh,
both.
Batman scenario of cell phone.
Every gadget you can think of.
We get all those wonderful phones. Yeah. No, as a side note, that's kind of interesting. There's a operating system called Murinu, I think. Murinu, I think. Yeah, Murena, and it's a basically it's a de-googled Android interface. So you can still get apps and everything, and they can run in a private little sandbox. But it's pushed from a European Union standpoint of data privacy. So
Hmm.
could be interesting too to keep your eyes on down the road. But anyway,
Right.
back to hardware here real quick in AI. nVidia just had a new announcement. They've been on an incredible run lately, but what's going on?
Oh, that's an understatement. Jensen Hong just announced the Blackwell Ultra Series at the annual GTC conference.
So we got a new AI chip. It sounds like. When do you think this is going to hit market, or what are they saying as far as when it will hit market?
The Blackwell Ultra chips are available the second half of 2025, which is coming.
Ooh.
What's really interesting is they already announced Blackwell's successor, the Vera Rubin chip system, expected late of 2026.
Dang. Yeah, I think they probably found some pressure from, you've got all kinds of competitors really kind of pushing up against them, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
AMD or uh, TMSC. But yeah,
Oh, right.
so yeah, they're not slowing down at all, are they?
Mm-mm. No, not even close. They even got the Finman chip plan for 2028.
Of
They
course.
introduced the GTX workstation based on the Blackwell chips, which is positioned to compete with Apple's high-end Macs. Ooh.
Dang. Yeah, and I think the DGX is also capable to run AI within offices. So if you wanted an
Mm.
offline AI model that was kind of air gapped, it'd give you that opportunity, which is nuts to think about. Um, they really had staggering growth, and I think since ChatGPT launched, they've had a six-fold increase, which is staggering. Yeah.
Wow, that's right. Since late 2022, their business has absolutely exploded, and there's really a capitalizing the AI boom.
Yeah. And by no means do we give investment advice on here, but if you were lucky enough to buy in roughly around the Chat GPT launch or shortly after, that's a fancy investment.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think maybe a year or two ago there was the 10-for-1 split as well. I think, or was it a 6-for-1 split? Maybe it was a 6-1 split. Yeah, something else had a 10-1 split around that time, but yeah. Yeah, pretty nice, pretty nice. So, speaking of AI, last topic here that we're going to kind of pound on, and it's kind of fascinating because, as you know, I'd say ever since a young age, time's whatever to me. I don't. I try to be a timely person. It's never anything meant to be disrespectful, but time flies for me sometimes. I'll get into something and 28 hours later, I'm like, oh, we're in a different day.
Oh, it's a time.
Okay. And I'm not alone. This AI system seemed to be struggling with telling time. And it seems like such a basic skill.
It really does. Researchers from University of Edinburgh shows that even advanced AI models correctly interpret clock hand positions less than 25% of the time. Jeez. 25%.
That's, I'm better than that, at least.
Right, right. Oh,
Yeah,
we know that time.
that is surprisingly bad. So, what do you think makes it so difficult for AI to tell the time on a traditional clock?
Um, I mean, especially even gets worse when Roman numerals or styles clocks. I mean, the challenge
Yeah.
seems to be a combination of spatial awareness, context, and the basic math required for reading time. Hmm. Interesting.
So, yeah, it sounds like it's sitting there and looking at these clock hands and like, I don't know, man. I don't know. So, yeah, something that most of us learn as a child in these sophisticated AI systems that can spit out these novels in 20 minutes are stumped.
Jeez. I mean, calendar-based questions are problematic too. Based AI models to get calculations wrong about 20% of the time.
Wow. I mean, that's a good reminder. You got all these advances in AI, but there are still these fundamental gaps between what AI can do, what it's capable of, and then like
Mhm.
basic human skills.
Absolutely. It's humbling to see limitations in the systems that can otherwise perform incredibly complex tasks. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that ChatGPT is like, hey, if you get the phone app, or even Perplexity, if you get the phone app, it's like, I can remind you about this. And just for the giggles of it, sometimes I was like, sure, remind me at this time. And I always thought maybe I'm doing it wrong because it never worked that well. But now it's interesting to see that it might be tied into this somehow.
Hmm.
Yeah, that it can't yeah, the way that its relational database works, because it's not linear
Right.
necessarily, it could be a real quandary. Yeah. Well, and I think too some things are standard, right? Like you look at the clock and there's no computation really required with telling time. It's largely spatial, I think, if you're looking at a traditional clock. Like you look
Right.
at big hand first, you get idea of where big hand is, and then you look at bigger hand. Why
Right.
do we call it why do we call the hour hand? It should be the little hand. What
So you have to be doing like 25% though,
dude,
or
we
20%.
discovered why this confuses AI.
Right. It's like, oh, what does the big hand
What's the
do?
big hand? Why is the hour the big hand? It's the smallest anyway.
Right.
That might just be my own idiocracy coming through. Man, who knows? All right. Well, hey, before we wrap up today, we wanted to take a moment to talk about ways that you can support the show if you're enjoying what you hear.
That's right. The podcast has been growing steadily, and we're grateful for all of our listeners out there.
We are. And we wanted to let you know the easiest ways that you could support us is really to share the podcast, right? We enjoy doing this. It's something that we get a kick out of. So if you've got friends in the space, you've got colleagues, or really anyone you think that might benefit from these tech discussions, that would be awesome. So word of mouth is incredibly powerful, and we'd appreciate if
Absolutely.
you'd share that.
Hey, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any platform that allows reviews, we appreciate any feedback or rating or review. It helps us find other shows and let us know what you're enjoying.
That is true.
Mhm.
Yes, they do. The reviews make a difference. They really,
Yeah,
especially good reviews.
absolutely.
If I'm going to be honest, I'm not interested in 1-star reviews. Maybe just, if you got a suggestion or you're really offended, just, 4-star. That'll get our attention. If we see a 4-star, we're going to read the comments. You don't need to bottom it out for us to, see. We don't have too many reviews right now. So, yeah, we definitely would notice.
Reviews,
Uh,
reviews, go, go, go.
yes. And they help boost our visibility, and, they give us feedback. What topics you're interested in, what you find most valuable, all of that.
Yeah, another great way to support us is referring a business of a 482825 Technologies. If you know someone who needs IT support, managed services, cybersecurity solutions, we'd be honored to help them out. So,
Absolutely. Yes.
mhm.
So, yeah, at A25 Tech, if you didn't know, we specialize in comprehensive IT solutions. So, no matter your business size, we can help out. We're more of a total solution provider for 50 and below. We offer more advisory and complimentary services for 50 and above employee businesses.
Mhm.
But whether it's a network setup, cloud
Mhm.
migration, security assessments for HIPAA, DD2345, PCI, any of
Mhm.
those, or any ongoing IT management. If you need help finding the best prices on cloud software, which also will see some increases on tariff related stuff. Uh,
Right.
yeah, yeah. Any of that. Basically, our team is really here to help. So,
Yeah. Don't forget, you can find more information about our services at 825tech.com or give us a call at 800-825-PAGE.
yes, in case you need help, right? Like back to the 90s of pagers.
Beep, beep. Buzz, buzz.
Bingo. So we've also got a monthly newsletter. You can sign up for that on our website. It delivers tech tips, insights straight into your inbox. We might be increasing that to weekly, depending
Hmm.
on what's going on. It might be a fun little update. So that can be subscribed out on our website as well. You can go to 825tech.com or 825technologies.com.
Supporting the podcast helps us bring us the latest tech news and analyze every week. So we appreciate each and every listener.
Yes, we really, really do. So thanks for listening. And I think
Absolutely.
that covers our topics for today. So
Right.
we went from tariffs and their impact on tech prices to
Mhm.
quantum computing breakthroughs. We
Right.
hit on Samsung's UI, their new update,
Ooh.
version 7. We talked about nVidia, that they continue
Mhm.
to dominate in the AI chip market. Still probably a good investment. And talked about AI's surprising inability to tell time.
Right. Yeah, it's been another fascinating discussion, Andy. As always, technology keeps moving forward. Sometimes it's unexpected ways.
Well, yeah, that is true. And before we go, I want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in to episode 69 of the 825 Technologies podcast. Remember, if you liked the show, subscribe, leave us a review, share it with friends.
Right. And don't forget to check out our website, 825tech.com, for more insights and a full range of IT services.
Yeah, until next time, I'm Andy,
And I'm Tim.
and thanks for listening.